The holidays are here, and these are my favorite holiday movies that I have in my collection that just have no HD or 4K format. Now, there's a couple Blu-rays in this collection that just really deserve a 4K, and I think that I don't know why. It just kind of boggles the mind that there is no 4K on those ones. But the reality is, the majority of these ones here are the highest quality format is a DVD, and that's where they're stuck. There's no HD format for home video or physical media, however you want to call it. I'm a fan of saying home video because physical media just kind of it comes out funny out of my mouth. I don't like it. But anyway, talking about these movies, some of my absolute favorite holiday movies. Now, there is a whole entire list. I know that these ones come up on people's favorites, they're beloved. There is that, but the fact that there is no HD, I'm wondering if the majority of people forgot about these. So let me know in the comments down below if you did forget about any of these, or if these are something that are just holiday staples in your house. But let's dive into this. The very first one here is Son-in-Law. This is just an excellent 90s Pauly Shore film. And, if you know Pauly Shore, he played the same character in pretty much every single movie. And it's one of my all-time favorites. And as we talk about that, this doesn't have an HD, but also Encino Man doesn't have an HD either. It's stuck on DVD. So those are movies that I would love to have. But this one right here is just one of my all-time favorite Thanksgiving movies. If you've never seen it, Pauly Shore plays this crazy character from the 90s, and he meets the love of his life in college, and they go back to her farm and meet the parents, that whole thing. And it's just kind of funny to see the fish out of water story and Pauly Shore doing the farm work and trying to make a good impression on her family. And this is just an overall fun film for Thanksgiving. Highly recommend it, but zero HD. And I've been watching it on this VHS for the longest time, so I've been waiting to get a Blu-ray, and I hope one comes sooner than later. Now, this is one that it had a Blu-ray, but it's just out of print. And to get the Blu-ray, it's so expensive. Like, I've seen it, anywhere between $100 and $180, anywhere between that price range. But I really haven't seen it at like a lower, like mid-tier, maybe $50 price range. I have not seen it there because I might have picked it up at that point, like reluctantly, just to have it in the collection and just say I have it. But they're very expensive, and it's Ernest Scared Stupid. Now, this was a Touchstone movie. I'm not really sure who put it out. I don't remember if it was Anchor Bay or Mill Creek, but one of those like companies that just pretty much missed everybody. That was put out a long time ago, out of print, and it's just a great, fun Halloween movie. And as we come into the holidays, obviously Halloween comes first, and so this is something that it gets watched in my house every single year, but we only have this DVD. And getting a Blu-ray would be wonderful. I don't necessarily ever see this getting a 4K anytime soon, but a Blu-ray, another release, would be wonderful. And I think like Kino Lorber would be a great option for this one. But other than that, love this one. High recommend. If you've never seen it, it's just, all the Ernest movies is just him playing this character Ernest, and, Jim Varney. Most people just associate him with this character, but he was like a classically trained actor, and so he has huge amount of range. But this is where he made his bread and butter, and everybody remembers him from these Ernest movies. But this is one of my all-time favorites. And a fun fact, in this movie, the trolls that they use, the costumes were from like recycled costumes from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I believe. That's the story that I've heard for a very long time now. So something that I keep repeating. I hope it's true. But let me know in the comments down below if it's not. But this is one, doesn't have an HD, and would love to get one soon.
What do you like to do for fun? Oh, you like to wiggle and grunt. Me too.
Here's a classic written by John Hughes, and it's Dutch. Now, this one here stars Ed O'Neill, Ethan Randall. Just an overall great Thanksgiving film. Now, this is something that it doesn't have an HD anymore, but it had a Blu-ray at one point. There was a release in Canada, and there was a release here in America. But that's, again, long out of print. They're very expensive on eBay. I think the cheapest one I saw recently was about $100, and it's hard for me to want to spend $100 on a simple Blu-ray with very minimal packaging, and I think it even probably had an Echo case. So I picked this one up, and this DVD, I think this was imported from Canada as well, I believe. But either way, this DVD, however I got it from Amazon, it was still like $20. And so in 2024, to pay $20 for a DVD, just kind of, it's like a gut punch. Like, this movie here should have another Blu-ray release at some point. It's definitely beloved. A lot of people talk about it, and I would love more people to see it. But if you've never seen this one, just an overall great film. You have Ed O'Neill, his character, he's dating this woman. She has a bad, ex-husband. He's not really great. He doesn't really treat the kid all that well. And so the kid's going to spend the time with the dad for the holidays, but then the plans fall out. So Ed O'Neill goes to pick up the kid, and there's this road trip. So it's this road trip story of two people that just don't really like each other, and they're trying to get along, or they're not really trying to get along, and that's very obvious. But then by the end of it, they kind of become friends. It's just a really enjoyable story. Love this one for Thanksgiving time, and I highly recommend it. And this one, another one, had a Blu-ray once, but it doesn't have HD now. No Blu-ray. The DVD is pretty much your best bet.
It was Christmas Eve in Connecticut. I was minding my own business, breaking into this rich guy's house when...
Now this one here, The Ref. The Ref is something that, I've been watching since I was probably an early teenager. Absolutely love this one. It came out in the 90s. You have Dennis Leary. He's a burglar, and as he goes into breaking into homes, he kind of gets trapped into one, and to hide from the cops, he kind of jumps in with this family, but it's a very dysfunctional family that pretty much hates each other. And so he, kind of hiding out from the cops, and the rest of the family's coming over and pretending to be somebody that he's not, just to try to get away with it. It's another really fun holiday one. It's not your typical movie like Home Alone or anything like that, but this is something that, I've been watching since I was pretty much a kid, and I love it, and I watch it every time, but there's no HD, there never has been, no Blu-ray, no 4K, and this is another one that I would definitely love to see Kino Lorber pick up, because I think they would do it justice. Really great, and I don't think it needs any of the extra premium packaging or anything like that. So I think Kino Lorber would just knock this one out of the park. Now here's another one came out in the 90s. Now this is a confusing one. Why this one doesn't have an HD, because it comes from the $1 Billion Girls, and we're talking about the Olsen twins. So this one is Double Double Toil and Trouble, and also I don't have the movie, but this is the one we watch all the time, but I don't have the Christmas one. That one, To Grandmother's House We Go, also doesn't have an HD. I think these were TV movies back then, but the company that they have, the Dual Star Company, they put out all these movies. Because of these movies, they became billionaires. So why is there no, HD? Why isn't anybody trying to get these out there? Because my kids still like them, and I know that, maybe if you don't have family and you don't have kids, this might just kind of fall under the radar for you, because it really is just a kid's movie. But it's something my kids have been watching every single year. And as we talk about that, none of their collection has any HD at all. The highest that any of them have would be DVD. And I've looked, I have mostly daughters in the house, so we've watched all the twins movies pretty much for the past decade. And this movie right here, New York Minute, is the only one. I think it's still part of Dual Star, but it's a Warner Brothers release. So this one here is Warner Brothers. There is an HD version to stream this one, but I have the VHS and the DVD, and the DVD is the highest quality format that this is on. But it's something that, again, it doesn't make sense, because it is such a big studio. It's Warner Brothers. So why doesn't this have an HD? I don't know. I would love somebody to put this one out, because to this day, my kids still watch this one, but the DVD is the best possible format, and it's starting to show its age on the 4K television. Now, here's another one from the 90s that I absolutely love, and it has no HD. There is an HD version streaming available. I double-checked through iTunes, and that's where I checked for all of them, because I don't have the streaming service, but if you go to iTunes, there's an HD version available for most of these. I wasn't able to check on The Ref, but this one definitely does, and it's Ernest Saves Christmas. Another fun Ernest movie. Love this one for the holidays, but this DVD is the best we have. If you've never seen it, it's just typical Ernest, and, making trouble, trying to do the best that he can, saving the day, and it's just a Christmas one, just holiday fun. Really enjoy this one. Now, this is a movie that I don't like it, but it comes up on people's favorite list of favorite Thanksgiving movies. And while I did laugh, now there's definitely a whole bunch of scenes in here that I laughed. And the reason I laughed was because it was kind of shocking. Like, it's that shock humor. And I think on the second time around, I don't necessarily know if I would laugh as hard or at all, but it's Pieces of April. I'm keeping it in my collection because, for reference purposes, but this is something that I really didn't enjoy. It's kind of a downer movie, and it's about April, who has her, life going on, and her family's coming to visit, but her family kind of doesn't like her. She doesn't like the family. She's trying to make a good impression. And the entire time you have this like scenes from the family in the car kind of talking about how they don't like her, and then vice versa. But the scenes were kind of hilarious where, you know, the mom's trying to remember a good memory of April, and she couldn't think of one. And every time she did think, or somebody mentioned something, it was the other sister. And then the one time that I ended up dying laughing was she'd said that there was a good memory, and the mom said, yeah, when she was lighting her sister on fire, and the way she had said it, it just kind of made me laugh. And so that's the shock humor that you kind of get in here. But at the end of the day, I thought it was kind of boring, and it was kind of a downer movie. But this one here does come up on a lot of people's lists and some of their favorites. So I'm going to keep it in my collection for reference purposes. Maybe I'll watch it again, and maybe I'll change my mind on it. But on first watch, wasn't a big fan. But there is no HD, and it's worth talking about because it does come up so often as people's favorite Thanksgiving movies. I don't know if it really is, or if it's just people trying to talk about Thanksgiving movies, and so they just throw it in there to kind of stock the list. But if you like it, let me know. But I don't know. It wasn't for me. Here's a movie that I absolutely love. Now, this one here is something that I'm surprised doesn't have a Blu-ray format, but this is something that, you know, I found back in the day and was just playing on television. I remember when it came out. I do remember the trailers, but it's something that my mom never rented. Like, she wasn't really into it for whatever reason. But it's not like an inappropriate movie, so I don't really understand that. But it's one that I absolutely love. And it's Trapped in Paradise. Now, this one here stars Jon Lovitz, Nicolas Cage. Just got a great cast here. But then, Dana Carvey's in this one. It's just something that I've come to love every single year. But when I found it, it was playing on television back in the day. I was probably in my late teens when I saw this, maybe early 20s. And I've been watching it ever since. But just an all-around great film. Really enjoyed this one. But if you have never seen it, you have these group of brothers. They're kind of not the smartest brothers, and they have a criminal background. But then they have this plan to go rob a bank in this small town. But then they kind of get stuck there for, the holiday, and then they kind of meet the townspeople, and so they rob the bank. But then they kind of get stuck there, and it's just a really enjoyable film. Love this one. Here something that it doesn't have an HD. I just picked up the DVD this year, but I had the VHS for a year or two now. And it's something that I found recently, and it's only because the movie My Stepmother's an Alien, they're playing it in the background. So there's a scene where she's watching the television, she's learning this whole Jimmy Durant's stick that he was doing in the movie, and something that, man, The Man Who Came to Dinner is probably one of my all-time favorite classic Christmas movies, something I have to watch every single year.
My great aunt Jennifer ate a whole box of candy every day of her life. She lived to be 102, and when she'd been dead 3 days, she looked better than you do now.
In this one, Monty Woolley's character, he slips on some ice and he gets stuck with this very wealthy, well-to-do family, and he creates this whole entire chaotic scene that at one point he brings penguins into the house, and it's just a guy who slipped outside and was just trying to heal his leg, and just kind of takes over and kind of shakes everything up and changes the family for the better. And I really enjoy this one, but this one has me dying laughing every single time. Now, this is just an old classic black and white film. I know it's not for everybody, but for me, number one, love this, and I would love to have a Blu-ray. Now, here's the rest here are just ones that have Blu-rays, but they need a 4K. And the first one I want to talk about, why it doesn't have a 4K, baffles my mind, because there was a restoration done, from everything I understand, to be put on the streaming service. And that was quite a few years ago. But as companies are always trying to find ways to get more money, just slapping this over to a 4K, I think is a no-brainer. And we're talking about Home Alone 2. Now, I have the VHS. I like to watch it every single year that way. And I know some people don't. But there's the thing about VHS that I love. But the Blu-ray, we watch it probably 3 or 4 times during the Christmas season, and probably about the same amount of times on the VHS. So this is a beloved film in my house, but where's the 4K? We definitely need one. And, Disney, they've kind of done their own thing, trying to push that streaming service. And so that is where you can get this on 4K, apparently, is just through the streaming service. But I don't have it. Our internet's not that great. So streaming anything is just never a good thing for us. So I want the physical media. I want the home video. This is what I want. Give me the 4K and I'll be happy. Now, these two here, these are the ones that kind of get nixed about, like, are they Christmas movies, are they not? Now, for me in my house, if it really has a Christmas backdrop, it's a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas time. Yes, of course, you could watch these at any time because Christmas really isn't the focus, but it's definitely there. And I count these as Christmas movies. I always will. And I'm not even apologetic about it. So this one, first one here, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I absolutely love it. And this is a great, definitely a great Christmas movie if you're into, kind of the noir stuff. And so I absolutely love this one. I think it's just great with Val Kilmer, Robert Downey Jr., just an all-time classic for me. And this deserves a 4K. And anybody that I've talked to that just has seen this movie, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Goes under the radar for most people, but highly beloved in my house. Now, this is one that I know a lot of people don't ever really consider this one a Christmas movie, but it's definitely there. There's, a scene for Christmas shopping. There's Christmas decorations always in the background. There's garland. There's Christmas lights. There's Christmas trees. It's just there. It's just almost really never mentioned. We're talking about Enemy at the State. Now, this is the DVD, but there is a Blu-ray. I just haven't gotten the Blu-ray because I'm waiting for the 4K to come out, and I want the 4K to come out sooner than later, but realistically, if I find the Blu-ray used at the thrift store or, the bookstore or something, I would probably pick it up really cheap in anticipation that the 4K is coming soon. But I've had this in my collection for quite a while, and I would love to get a 4K sooner than later. I want to thank you to all the channel members, and as a thank you to all the channel members, from now until the holidays are over, we're going to offer a 10% discount on everything in the store. Always the store link is pinned down below, but you can always also follow me on social media. Those links are also down below. You're going to want to check out this video right here.